Back Road Ministry, the world premiere. Mr. Monty coming live and direct. Headed to work. Beautiful Thursday. One day after Valentines Day. And strangely enough, this year we get another St. Valentine's Day massacre. Somebody pointed out 89 years after the St. Valentine's Day massacre, we get another St. Valentine's Day massacre. This one at Marjorie's Stone Mall or Stone Mill. The name is so long. It's just ridiculous. But we talk about certain numbers here. And I know a lot of people think I'm wacky Wooder for talking about this stuff, but you know, certain things that I look for when I read the news. So here's some numbers that should stand out to people, and it's not coincidence, and it's kind of stupid when you read news stories. Okay, so first thing, yesterday was the 14th. Yesterday was February the 14th. If you read the news story about the school shooting, we got 14 people that are wounded. On February the 14th, 14 people just happened to be wounded. 14 people. That's part one. Part two, we see the number 17. And if you've been following my channel and listening to some of the numbers I spat, 17 is the kill number. And so 17 were killed. 17 is always the kill number. So the kill numbers you'll see a lot of times are 17, 59, and 44. Those are the kill numbers. Anytime there's a killing, especially a mass shooting, you're going to see one of these numbers. 17, you'll see 59, or you'll see 44, somewhere in the mix. And 52 is also a kill number or death number. It's one of the two. So it's another number to watch. But you always see 17. In a minute I opened up that story, I saw 17 killed. I went to another story. You say, well, why? But Mark, there, you insensitive? No, I'm not insensitive. I just read between the bullshit. You guys got to understand that we are in a nation of people who are willing to control you by any means necessary. And if that means staging events, if that means actually killing people, they're willing to do it. They're willing to send in Manchurian candidates, program them, tell them what, give them the mission and let them act it out. And the media pretty much takes it from there. So you'll get 17 killed. This guy's in his, he just walks out and turns himself in, all this crazy crap. I want you to look at certain things with this story. We got this Dreamer Act coming. We talked a lot about the Dreamer Act on my channel. Mr. Nicholas Cruz just so happens to have a Hispanic last name. Let's look for him somewhere to be called a dreamer. He's going to be called one of these dreamers, a dreamer with the AR-15, because they need to really breed hatred for other people so they can pass their agenda, which is to get certain people out of the country. Right now, there's a fear of the Hispanic. The Hispanic is slowly but surely becoming the majority. And so the powers that be have to get the Hispanic out of the country by any means necessary again. So let's look at that narrative for this person to be a dreamer. Look at this narrative. But as far as the shooter, a lot of stuff stood out to me. The way they spelt Nicholas, they spelt it that way for a reason. 27, I think it was 2745 numerology yesterday. That's all in the name Nicholas. So it's nothing ever coincidental by how they do certain things. They spell names certain ways for certain reasons. And in this story, you're gonna see names that are spelt one way, and you're used to seeing them one way spelt, totally ridiculous. I think they spell his name like Nikolas. It's not a lot of people named Nicholas spelt like that. You know what I'm saying? So you got to watch certain things. When you read those stories, you got to read them like that. I didn't pay any attention to the school shooting. I'm going to tell you why. Because if you really pay attention to the pattern, especially when it comes to gun control, it's the same damn pattern. You have either cop shoots African American, followed by somebody shoots a cop, followed by a school shooting. It just goes in the same narrative. Well, you have a concert shooting, but it goes in the same little sequence. So we had the commander shot in Chicago, I think 2 days ago, followed by that. After that, we have a school shooting. And it's all for the same agenda. They want to get the guns out of the people's hands. They don't want people to be able to defend themselves. Remember, America is one of the only countries where you can have a handgun. Majority of countries in the world, you can't walk around with a handgun. You can't do it. It's against the law. So America is the only, really one of the last countries where you can actually do that. And what they want to do is get the guns out your hands. Why? They don't want you to be able to protect yourself. They don't want you to be able to protect yourself. So when they run the police state, they can bust you upside the head at will, and you ain't got no way and no means of fighting back. That's just all it's about. Easy way to conquer the masses. But they got to get the masses on board to give up their rights to own handguns. So they come out with these stories that everybody with a gun is crazy. You can't really predict what a person with a gun is going to do anyway. But they need these type of stories. The AR-15s, assault rifles. I don't really feel a motherfucker needs an assault rifle to protect themselves. They had a bill on the books that blocked people from buying those weapons, but the boys in the NRA decided that it was all right to have assault rifles. So that's why they put the assault rifle in the narrative. But you got to really watch these stories with a grain of salt. Television is television. It's like Ripley's Believe It or Not. You see it, do you believe it or not? And a lot of times they put these stories together at first as distractions, second to sell a narrative, and they get the public all wrapped up in it. And the stories really don't last that long. One thing I tell people during this time when they do drop stories like this is pay attention to all legislation coming out of Congress. This is the time when they try to pass legislation because nobody's paying attention to what they're doing in Congress. And they pass a lot of bills under the guise, under the guise of this distraction. So you got to be very, very alert and aware of Congress. So every day during this event, you can go on Congress's website, pull up any bills that have been passed. Stay on the internet looking for any old stuff that might have been passed that might be removed this week. The Dreamer Act may pass, and they use the guise of this to go ahead and pass it and not fall on Trump, basically. So just watch to see what bills they sign into law, what bills they take out of law this week, because that's what they do during these distractions and get people so caught up in this that they're not paying attention to what Congress, and this is when Congress does most of their dirty work, is when these distractions get thrown in front of us. Mr. Makti, Back Row Ministry, stay alert, stay well.